Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Bob Mendelsohn, and this is the Bob's Your Uncle podcast. That's some great Mendelssohn music from the Wedding March. I hope you like it. And this is season 7, episode 15. And today we're finishing our two-part series with composer and conductor and pickleball player and my friend George Ellis from Sydney, Australia. You're going to love all the places we go in this conversation today. And I hope you've been able to enjoy listening to him before in last week's episode. We've got so much more to go. Stay tuned.
Don't know much about history. Don't know much biology. Don't know much about a science book. Don't know much about the French I took. But I do know that I love you. And I know that if you love me too, what a wonderful world this would be.
Today in history, the 8th of July, in 1497, Vasco de Gama set sail from Lisbon, Portugal, on the first European voyage to reach India by sea. On July 8, 1776, the Declaration of Independence was read publicly for the first time in Philadelphia. In 1996, the British pop band Spice Girls released their debut single, Wannabe, which helped make them an international sensation. And that's the historical marker of the week.
But I do know that I love you. And I know that if you love me too, what a wonderful world this would be.
Each week, for about 18 minutes, we cover subjects from sport to government, from individual interests to whatever I'm thinking about, religion sometimes, or travels. We cover a lot in 18 minutes. And this week is no different. We're going to have the second of the two-part series with my friend George Ellis. Last week we covered even where the George Ellis Orchestra name came from and how he had this highlight, which was that he was the conductor of the Sydney Symphony Orchestra for the opening ceremony of the 2000 Sydney Olympics. Well, we just got lost in conversation, and I want to bring you the rest of the story today. Here's part 2. George, you play cello, and I'm guessing many other instruments. If you had any spare time, which is very limited in your world, what songs play in your head? That is, would you grab a cello or a piano bench or sing a cappella? What song is it in there just now?
You know, it's interesting that as much as I love other people's music and music written by, the famous composers and the great pop and rock artists over the, usually I think of their music when I'm actually performing their music or playing a CD or listening to Spotify or something and I hear their music. But another thing that I do as well as conduct orchestras is I compose for them. And there's sometimes a project like a film score. I've just written a film score earlier this year, which is coming out in a couple of months. But even if there isn't a project in mind, and I've done this from being from when I was a very small child, and that is tunes come into my head. So unless I'm in, say, a dialogue like I am right now, or I'm otherwise occupied like watching a movie or playing pickleball, if I'm just walking down the street, and just thinking about things. What the music that I do here are new pieces of music. Just, I'm just constantly coming up with new tunes. And often when I come home, if a tune isn't that good, I would have forgotten it. But if it's something that's stuck with me, especially if it's been an hour or two, or if I've been out and gone to a party or something and come back home and driving, and I don't have the radio on, tunes will stay in my head. And then if I get home, or when I get home, and if that same tune is in my head, I write it down for safekeeping so I can use it for a project that might come up. So in answer to your question, and it sounds very egotistic, I know, I hear my own music in my head, music that I haven't heard before. It's interesting. You probably know the story of Paul McCartney waking up one day and singing a tune that went da 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 da. And he went to the piano and he started playing it. And he said, "What's this song?" And he asked John Lennon. John Lennon said, "I don't know." And he asked George Martin. George Martin said, "I don't know what this song is." And Paul McCartney said, "Oh, I must have written it." And that became the song yesterday. So not that I can compose nearly as well as write songs like Paul McCartney, but I do think of my own new songs or new melodies in my own head.
I love it. Hey, where were you born and raised?
I was born in Sydney, Australia. My parents were Greek. They grew up in Alexandria, Egypt, when there was a large Greek community there, large Greek population. And they came out to Australia in 1956. And my brothers and I were born in in Sydney, in a western suburb of Sydney called Penrith, which is back then about an hour and a half west of Sydney. But then when I was 3, we moved to the inner west suburb of Marrickville in Sydney, very close to the city. And I've lived in the inner west since.
That's home. George, what gets you up each morning? That is, you've got such a long resume of superb achievements, and many would, rest on those laurels, but you keep going. So what keeps you going? What gets you up each morning?
Life in general. I love life. Life is a beautiful thing. I love everything about it. I love friendships. I love my children. I've got a grandchild who I adore. I have a lovely partner that I've been seeing for a few months now. May is a lovely woman who I've met only fairly recently, but that's going very nicely. We go to the beach together. We stand up paddleboard together. All these things, in answer to your question, get me up in the morning. They're all wonderful and positive things. Music, music gets me up in the morning. The fact that I'm allowed to perform it and asked to perform it, and I'm doing a concert tour to New Zealand in August this year. I'm so looking forward to that. All of those things make life a joy for me. In fact, I often don't sleep all that much because, sometimes when my eyes open at 4:30 or 5 in the morning, rather than go back to sleep, I go, I have so much to do today, not in terms of time pressure, but like, let me at it. I can't wait to get it. I don't want to orchestrate at 9 o'clock. I want to orchestrate at 7 o'clock. So all of these things get me up, and I think life is beautiful. So life in general, and my relationships within life make me love life and
That's great.
want to get up in the morning.
I have 7 grandchildren, so I know that joy of that little one. Um,
Isn't it the best?
oh, I mean, I'm glad I have children. Um, the world, the world we have, the world we know, is a very different world than the way your parents grew up and moved in '56. The world is ever changing, they say. They say it's the only constant. But what particularly worries you about changes you see in the world just now?
The conflicts bother me. They always have. I don't know if it's worse now than before. It seems that way, but they've always been bad. Ever since I was little, we knew about Vietnam. We knew about I mean, I wasn't alive, of course, for the Second World War or the Korean War, but ever since then, any conflict, the Middle East, the Gulf War, the Iraq, the weapons of mass destruction, all of that, the terrorist acts that have happened across the years over different places, that's not good. And the current conflicts, we all know what they are: Russia and Ukraine, Iran, etc. They get me down, I must admit. That worries me. I hope they play out the way that other wars have, and that is they're over and there aren't too many casualties. But even one casualty to me is way too many, and there are of course many more than one casualty. So that's a concern. I hope it doesn't escalate even more than's already there. But human nature seems, at least for some people, conflict is the way to go. But I wish that wasn't the case.
Let's see what we can do to make it better. All right, here's the lightning round. Here we go. Just give me just a quick answer. You don't have to give me a
Sure.
paragraph.
Okay.
Coca-Cola or Pepsi?
I haven't drunk either. I think maybe Coke. I think maybe Coke is okay. I don't know. It's a bigger brand, so maybe it's the best. So sorry, I don't have a good answer for you for
It's
that
the
one.
real thing. All right. Shostakovich or John Williams?
Just a Coke.
Mendelssohn or Bach?
Ooh, Bach, because there wouldn't be Mendelssohn without Bach.
And there wouldn't be a Bach without Mendelssohn, but that's another story.
I got it. I got it.
That's all right. Tennis or pickleball?
Pickleball.
Of course. Sydney or Melbourne?
Sydney for the beaches, Melbourne for its restaurant, cafe, live music culture.
We'll have to take you to some good restaurants in Sydney. All right.
There are that too.
Troy Cassar-Daley or Slim Dusty?
Australian country music owes everything to Slim Dusty, but having met Troy Cassar-Daley and having worked with him, and I'm doing a concert with him again in January next year, I have to say, my good mate Troy Cassar-Daley, he's a wonderful, beautiful man with a daughter, Gem Cassar-Daley, who's got a superb voice as well.
Well, we'll have to make sure he listens to this podcast. All right. And finally, Old Testament or New Testament?
New Testament. Jesus Christ made everything in the Old Testament valid.
Beautiful. Is there anything else? I always like to give my guests an opportunity to say anything that we haven't covered that you wish I would have asked to the Bob's Your Uncle podcast.
I would just add that we miss you here in Australia, and we hope to come. We hope you come back soon, because you teach us so much about pickleball, but you also teach us about life and how to be a genuinely good human. And the world needs that. We need that. And please hurry back when you can. Come back to Sydney, Australia for us,
Yes,
please.
sir. Middle of August, I'm on the plane again. I will be back for my 6-month. I'm an international snowbird. So spring, summer, I'm wherever that is.
Wonderful. Well, we can't wait for August to come around then, and we'll greet you with open arms.
George, you're a blessing. Thanks so much, and have a great rest of winter. And I especially look forward to hearing good things about your August tour in New Zealand.
Look forward to it. Thank you so much for having me on, and those wonderfully astute questions. I wish I could speak more eloquently, but I thank you for the opportunity to answer.
My audience will love you. Thanks so much, George.
Thanks, Bob.
With apologies, we got away from it, but we're coming back to it. We like to read from the #1 bestseller of all time. That's the Bible. And from Nehemiah chapter 9, we read this: You alone are the Lord. You have made the heavens, the heaven of heavens with all their host, the earth and all that is on it, the seas and all that is in them. You give life to all of them, and the heavenly host bows down before you. That's the Bible reading for the week. Hey, the Bob's Your Uncle podcast has been going for several years. I'm really glad for those of you who listen to us and send in notes. Look, if you have a question or you have a guest you want me to interview, just let me know, would you? Write to me, bobmendo@aol.com. That's the easiest. Or write to me right where you're getting this podcast. That would be good. And by the way, if you want to support the podcast, that's always an easy thing to do. There's a link always in each description, so you can go to Patreon or whatever they're using, whatever they're making me use in these days to support $5-10 a month, something like that. That helps pay for it. But beyond that, look, I just want you to meet people, because people is what this podcast is about. Christine last week from Connecticut, man, oh man, what great stories. And we've got so many more coming up this summer, this U.S. summer. Sorry, Aussies. I'll be back with you at the end at the end of August, back in Australia, as I continue my snowbird life. It's a great thing, and it's now July. It's the new fiscal year for those of us in Australia and some other countries. It's still a time to be kind to others, to make the world a better place. And that's the end of episode 15. But let's listen to the end of the wedding march. Look, when things are bleak or uncertain, look up to God. He's in his heaven, and Bob's your uncle. Shalom from Nashville.